Napoleon Bonaparte had never lost a war. By 1812, he had crushed Austria, humiliated Prussia, and turned most of Europe into a French empire in all but name. And on the 14th of September 1812, he rode toward Moscow, expecting the Russians to do what every other nation had done before them: surrender. Instead, they burned the city down. Napoleon's invasion had begun 3 months earlier, with the largest army ever assembled in European history, over 600,000 men. The plan was simple: march into Russia, force a decisive battle, and dictate peace from Moscow. The same formula that had worked across Europe for 15 years. But the Russians refused to fight on his terms. They retreated, over and over, drawing the French deeper into Russian territory, stretching supply lines thinner with every mile. When French troops finally reached Moscow on the 14th of September, the streets were empty. The city's 270,000 inhabitants had already fled, taking whatever they could carry and leaving almost nothing behind. What they left behind was a plan. Moscow's military governor is widely believed to have ordered the burning of the city's major buildings, warehouses, and supply depots before evacuating. Deny Napoleon everything: food, shelter, supplies, the symbolic prize of an intact Russian capital. If the French wanted Moscow, they could have the ashes. The fires started small, but Moscow in 1812 was built almost entirely of wood. When the wind picked up, isolated fires merged into an inferno. By the 18th of September, 5 days after it began, roughly 3/4 of the city had been destroyed. Napoleon sat in the ruins for 5 weeks, waiting for a peace offer that never came. The Tsar refused to negotiate, the Russian army refused to engage, and the Russian winter was coming. By mid-October, the first snows had fallen, and Napoleon made the decision to retreat. It became one of the most catastrophic military retreats in history. Of the 600,000 men who had crossed into Russia, fewer than 100,000 made it back. The Russians had understood something Napoleon never grasped. Territory is not victory. A city is not a war. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is the willingness to burn everything you have built, just to deny it to your enemy. Moscow burned because the Russians chose to burn it. And that choice broke the greatest army in the world.